Hello everyone, welcome to the LSI F1.5 EU Championship. We're today for the Mexican Grand Prix. This is gonna be an epic one. We had an absolute crazy race yesterday. This is gonna be very interesting. We've got Samaxo currently lining it up on pole position, the 13.739 on some slightly worn tyres. So they've got a bit more to push, 10 minutes on the clock to do so as well. We've got a few new drivers in the lobby as well. We've got Fireball and we have Noob Tube. So welcome to them. We'll see what they can get done. Terence joins us in the final few moments, or I say late into the session, but does get into their car and hopefully can put their setup on and get some qualifying laps done. As you can notice, Frantic is not here. And if Simaxon wins this race, he will be 1 point ahead in the championship. That will be possibly a deciding factor later on this season. Hopefully, Frantic can be back on the grid again soon, and we can see them score some good points. Heischler, this is a very, very long straight into the first corner, the longest on the calendar. Where do you want to be qualifying?
Not on the front row. I think Charlie did a really good job yesterday by holding the P1 position going into the first corner. But it's just, with this year's game, it's just not ideal to start on the front row at all. The slipstream is just way too strong. And actually, if you looked at my start yesterday, I nearly made up 2 places while starting P7. So the further you start back, the higher chance you have that you can actually gain places.
So Maxon had some very good pace yesterday, getting a race distance in, obviously competing as a permanent driver here in F1.5. If they're hoping to get to get a pole position here in F1.5, then they might not end up leading into the first corner. Would they be able to try and replicate what their fellow countrymen did yesterday? Charlie in the Mercedes, as you said, Heischler. It was a brilliant, brilliant effort. We've got Verf on the lap, P2 right now in the Ferrari car, a 14.039, not quite into the 13s, 3 tenths behind the current pole sitter. But they are going for that improvement lap. We just missed the sector line. I just missed the sector line to see if they're improving, but they'll go through the S section and see if they can send it.
Yeah, I'm just watching Jericho now. He's on improvement as well. He's about to cross the line and it's looking like he will jump barrier, maybe even noob tube into P3. It's interesting to see where he ends up, and it will be... Yep, just about behind noob tube. But I think great effort by Jericho.
Very good stuff. We've got Verf, who managed to find a bit of time in that middle sector. The final sector might be enough to challenge for provisional pole position. And it is going to be. That is an awesome job right there in the final sector. They find an extra 10th to add to their lap. And Simaxon is not so safe after all. The Hungarian manages to get their way into that P1 spot as a reserve driver, but still competing a fair few times this season and scoring some good points, showing some good performances. These two were rivals in Singapore, fighting out for the victory. That was a brilliant job there for Sir Maxon in the end. Verf has just missed out on a few occasions and wants to try and get that job done sooner rather than later if they can. We'll see how it goes. We've got both Red Bulls on the scene. They are the championship leaders for the team's championship, and they're looking to try and extend that if they can. No Haas's on the grid as permanent drivers, and Williams only have 1. So if they can get the double points finish for both cars, they're going to be absolutely loving life in both championships for sure. We'll see. So Maxon is going on another lap.
Yep, we have Malik now crossing the line. He will move, won't move up a place, but he improves his time by quite a margin. I think he made a huge mistake on his earlier run, but I hope for him, I believe one of his first rounds as well. I hope for him he will do well in this round as well, just to get more experience and get quicker every round.
Yeah, racing in USA for the first time. They managed to get their foot in the door, and they're going to keep trying to work hard at getting the results in the future, with the experience of course going to be helping them. That was a big loss of the rear end as they exited turn 6, was it, from Sir Maxon? They've managed to keep it together, but it was a tricky one. They do not improve right now. They're almost dead on their time. Will they go straight into the pit lane or not? They go through the stadium section, riding the curbs to try and minimize that track distance as possible as much as possible, but it looks like they're going to minimise it so much that they will go into the pit lane and end that lap early. They're not happy with it, so they're just going to take it into the pit lane. Now, Heisler, what we saw yesterday was quite a few people using many tyres in the qualifying sessions. It did mean that they then didn't have any for the last few laps of the race. They didn't have any really to go to the end. Would you want to try and qualify as high as you possibly can and use 3 tyres, or are you going to try and save a set for the race?
Like we saw yesterday, softs are not ideal. After 2 laps they will already overheat the rears. So yes, you just want to use them all in the quali. I actually did 4 runs once and 1 more run on the old set. But that old set was just already too old to even be able to improve my time. So yes, you just use all your 3 sets and just ignore them in the race because they are not useful.
Fair enough, yeah. It's a good strategy to use. It does mean that you can go absolutely full pelt in qualifying. That is Rare Winter retiring there as they exit the S section. That's an interesting crash right there from them. That'll be their session done. P7 or lower. Will they be pushed down by their teammate Malik or Fireball? We'll see. Fireball on an outlap to try and set their first time lap if they can. We've got Barry coming around the final corner. What's it gonna be for the South African driver? P5 at the moment, and it's going to be a P3 as they improve by almost half a second and getting right behind their teammate. I say right behind, they've still got about 4 tenths to get there. So there's a bit of a gap, but they do currently sit themselves in probably one of the most optimal positions to start this Grand Prix. Would they want to just kind of like risk it and not go again, or would they maybe want to try and go for another improvement? I don't know.
Definitely another improvement, but if I was Barbie, I would very much say stop the count, because this is probably the prime position for the rest of the race. You have 2 really quick drivers ahead of you, and you just want to cling on them, just stay with them all race long and hope they might get a penalty or something. But you are just the one to be able to sit behind and wait for things to happen, because you know you don't have the pace, but you can at least on this game stay with them.
Indeed. It's the way to go. It's the strategy to have. Will we see Verf go for the pole position here today in Mexico? Samaxon, as I will say again, as I said before, had brilliant pace yesterday, so good that they managed to get into a position to fight for the win and take it yesterday in the higher tier racing as a reserve. They're looking to try and keep that good momentum and see if they can utilise the fact that their championship rival here in F1.5 isn't racing. But if Verf is going to be as quick as they are, they might be able to find a bit more time and continue to challenge Samaxon and maybe get their first win and upset things a little bit. As I said, if Samaxon wins, they will lead the championship by 1 point. But if Verf changes that, it's not going to be so beneficial towards Samaxon. It will still be very, very close, however, if that is to happen. They start their final lap of the session a lot earlier than most people will be starting their final laps, of course. Hopefully we can get to see the timer just to see what's left on the clock in a few moments' time.
Yeah, I think for it started really early, just to, if he invalidates now, like early in the lap. Oh, he's not even using a rest yet. So
no, it looks
I
like
don't
he's backed off.
Yeah, he already backed off. But I would have said, if you invalidate early on, you have now at least the time to do another lap. That's why I went out quite early in yesterday as well, but he just backed off. I don't really know why, because usually 2 outlaps is not the way to go around this game.
No, not usually. I guess they're maybe not happy if the tyre temp's starting the lap. That would be my only real explanation, I guess. They might even be able to get through the rest of the circuit and have enough time to go for 2 runs, but you wouldn't have enough to really save any battery. No, you're not even going to have enough to go for 2 runs, I don't think. But they will prepare their final run, and we'll see what they can do. So Maxon is on an outlap as well. They're going to be looking to challenge if they can. We've got Jerko Willis and we have Malik, who will be completing their most likely final laps very, very shortly. So we will watch on board When it comes through the S section, they go over the sector line as they head to sector 3, and it is going to be almost 7/10 improvement. They're not going to be able to find enough time to get to Brothers Call unless they find a little bit more in this final stadium section. As they exit, the final corner's coming up. They won't get to DRS, they just have to bring it to the right hand side, a big clout on the wall, which isn't going to help, but they do improve 8/10 in the end, not enough to get to Brothers Call. They'll just have to wait there for now. We've got Jericho Willis, who's got cars ahead, and he's backed off. He's backed off, and I don't know if they'll get another lap in. They should, but they're going to have to get a move on here.
I think he will be able to do a lap, but one point I saw with Malik is he didn't really use all of his ERS, so for next time I hope he watches his own footage back and learns from it, because it's very, very easy to gain time by using all of your ERS.
It is for sure. That was Verf, unfortunately invalidating on this lap. They might get another chance if they can cross the line to start one final lap. Do they get the job done? They do! No. Yes, they do.
Yeah, but he is out of ERS.
Absolutely incredible, but no, they will back off. That's going to be that one done. Samaxon is going to try and improve. We come through the S section now. We will get the call. Is it going to be an improvement, and how much by, or will it not be? It's going to be very, very close. Samaxon needs to find a little bit more time here. Is it going to work out for the Red Bull car coming through the corners on the traction? It looks tidy, but is it quick? Riding the inside curb as hard as they can and moving to the left at right hand side, and they've got it done. I bottled it there. They managed to get it done. A 13.577 just ahead of Earth. Barry, currently the teammate of Samaxon, looking for P3 and looking to improve as well. How much time can they find in this final sector? Jericho Willis is the only one that can compete against them, and they also have one lap older tyres, so it's looking pretty good for the Red Bull crew. Barry Kruger around the final corner, losing the car on the rear end, and they get the job done. Just a little improvement, but it's not going to matter. Jericho Willis will not be able to knock them down.
What a lap by Samaxon. 0.5 is a really, really nice time to get, and I think Barry will be really happy with this quali as well.
For sure. So Maxon takes pole position, Verf in P2, Barry in P3. That's the rest of the grid. We'll go through the race director just in case, and then we will be back for the race. We'll see you in a bit. Ready, hold, Go! Who's gonna get it into turn one? We're away. So Maxon takes pole position. Will Barry be able to get in the slipstream as they tuck in behind their teammate? Verf is gonna be swarmed, and there's a big crash. That is Joko Willis out, the championship contender. A virtual safety car is immediately deployed, and what on earth just happened? Verf has got damage. I don't know who else. Barry must have been involved in that one, surely, or they've just dropped down. They do have damage to their car. That was a massive crash as they head into the first corner. I didn't quite get to see a good view, but it was 3 wide for a while.
Poor, I'm speechless. I didn't expect that. It was probably 2 cars that went towards each other, and I think then Jericho was in the middle of that, and they were just all went into the side of the wall.
Interesting. That's a frustrating situation for them to be in. We've also got Fireball, unfortunately, having damage. They go off the circuit, and that is going to be Tom Rob trying to get through, not quite able to find their way through as Fireball was trying to stay ahead, which is interesting, but we'll move on and they'll go into the pit lane and hopefully everything is good. We've got Terrence trying to find a way through the damaged car of Barry, who had the prime position going into the first corner, but unfortunately it didn't work out in the end and they will just have to deal with that one. Fireball goes around the final corner. They do unfortunately make a bit of a mistake and they're going to have to try and get the car back into the pit lane for those repairs. We're going to get DRS enabled on this lap. Halfway through it, we now go racing once again. We do actually have NoobTube leading the way and Sir Maxon now in P2.
Yeah, what a great start so far for the rookie in P2, P1 now, and I think both the V-Carbs, I have to say, had an amazing start as well. I don't know, I'm not sure where they started, but it was further back, so I think they had a great start.
Yeah, they've jumped up quite a bit. We've, of course, seen Barry, Verf and Fireball all go down the order. The top, 2 of the top 3 involved in that crash. So Maxon is the only one out of the top 3 who got pole and was able to stay in the race. Jericho Willis is going to be absolutely devastated with such a good opportunity to be scoring points over their rival. Unfortunately, it's the way it goes. It's the way racing goes sometimes, and you can't do anything about it. NoobTube now. DRS will be available for Sir Maxon, and there's also 2 cars right behind them, very close, looking to maybe make a move. There could be a double overtake here for Rare Winter if they used enough battery and did it smartly. Will we see it happen? Sir Maxon's definitely going to be challenging, and here comes the racing bull. No, they're not really using too much. They might be able to get 1 position, but 2 will not be on the
Yeah, I'm just looking at the tire situation now as well. Simaxon is on the hards, doing the same as I did yesterday, and I gotta say, when you're starting so far up, I'm not sure if that's the call to go.
So it's a difficult one, but if you're in the DRS train, the grip kind of goes away. We've got That Is Bread Is Cool making the move ahead of the Aston Martin. It's all of a sudden switched up again as they're all very close to one another. That is a retirement on track. Unfortunately, that will hopefully not be a safety car, but that will be Fireball Fury's race ended very early on. Bread Is Cool wasn't quite able to hold on. That is the Mercedes car off in the barrier. I do apologise for quickly going off context. We've got NoobTube out P3, but no DRS currently there. Rare Winter is the only one holding on. As you said, that hard tyre isn't exactly what you want to be going for if you are leading, but if you are going to take that risk and make it work, it can be beneficial, very beneficial for later on. They would have 2 sets of mediums to end this race if they needed to, and they go for the fastest lap. Rare Winter will not be able to make that move from as far back as they are.
Yeah, I'm now thinking about the possible strategies here. If I was Rare Winter, now he has a gap behind him. Just try to stay in the DRS as long as possible of the hard runner. Extend your stint as much as possible, because the more you extend on all tires, the better the hard tires will be in the end, which when the mediums will actually fall off. Yeah, for sure. It will be incredibly good if they can make it work, but not easy. Rare Winter needs to try and see if they can get ahead and just slow down that Red Bull car,
who will have just broken DRS range momentarily. DRS will be available there for the Racing Bull car. Will they be able to hold on to that 2/10 margin in the stadium section? They might have just done it. I think they've just done it. That is a brilliant effort right there for Winter to get that one, as NoobTube not quite able to hold on, but they do have a bit of a slingshot opportunity here from Brothers Call if they can make that work. But both Racing Bulls are a little bit too far behind their current racing rival on track to be able to actually make any overtakes, and it's all quite relaxed at the moment, but it could change very soon.
Yeah, I think Simaxon was actually trying to get Winter out of the DRS, whilst Winter just gets a penalty already at lap 5, so that's not ideal. But yeah, Simaxon is now on really low battery.
Very annoying stuff there for Winter. He manages to hold on nicely though. Simaxon, of course, pushing, so they will have to try and think about how they're going to do that again, if they can do it again later on. But now they can't push as much, it will be easier for Winter to be able to hold on. That being said, they do have a time penalty, which is also going to be frustrating to their race later on. It is an easy circuit to get track limits at, so it could be possible that others also have this kind of issue, but we'll see how it goes. Verf and Barry further back the order, 35 seconds behind the rest of the pack, unfortunately, with their crash, of course, earlier on. That is a medium tyre there for Verf and a hard tyre for Barry, looking to try and go as long as they can. And if it is going to be a safety car in the late stages, they'll be good to go. But yeah, that's a frustrating one. That is DRS still available for Winter, but almost completely lost. They are lucky.
Yeah, I think he's really, really close to losing it. And I'm seeing now why he's actually losing it. He is on some weird places, he's on none, whilst he is already now out of now he's back in again, but he's already out of DRS, so I'm not sure why he is on none sometimes. Now you actually want to use all the DRS you have.
Yeah, to be able to get that DRS, and then only should you save once you're behind and in a comfortable position that you've got the momentum to keep catching. But that could be that done, and Simaxon has now got a 1.3 second gap down the straight. We'll see what their relative pace is going to be to outright instead of having DRS. The slipstream, would it be very distant? I'm not entirely sure, but it will be pretty distant, that's for sure. 1.5 seconds now. We will see the straight line speed relative to both cars as we get to the top end of the straight, really, and we'll see what happens. But that is also DRS broken there to NoobTube and Brothers Call. Unless Brothers Call has just done it, I think they won't be able to get that DRS. 1.760. It's gonna be looking like they're a bit quicker as Simaxon. Simaxon's quicker in the straight line.
Yeah, it's a bit sad to see that all of them are losing DRS towards each other. Now it's gonna be purely everyone on pace, and if it's already the order in terms of pace, then it's gonna be a tough one for everyone to just drive around in corners or in circles.
Indeed, it will be, but it will be a intense one, because it can be very easy to be complacent, get distracted if nothing's going around too much, and then all of a sudden you get yourself a few time penalties, and that's where you get a time penalty Grand Prix, and that you're just watching the time penalties to see how they change, and it could all of a sudden make the race a lot closer than it actually looks on track. So yeah, we'll see if that becomes a thing. Hopefully it doesn't, and we can get some more good racing in, but it could possibly happen. Brothers Call momentarily caught up there to NoobTube towards the start of the last lap that we've just done, and now we start this lap. Brothers Call has managed, NoobTube has managed to catch up here to Winter, the teammate of the other Racing Bull, and they're going to be looking to try and launch an attack within the next lap or so, it looks like, as they catch up massively down that straight. Not much ERS, but they'll have an ability and an opportunity to save some now, but 4 seconds away from Simaxon. They are doing a very good job. Big mistake there for Winter, who might already be struggling on the tyres. Lap 7. Oh, lap 7 age tyres. They go defensive and they're actually going to go for the overtake. It's very, very, very tight indeed, the space that was available. They've managed to just about keep it in a straight line. I didn't expect them to really be going side by side into that corner that early on, but they did so. They will live to fight another day. Now, who will be able to get ahead, and when will we be looking to go into the pit lane for a medium tyre? These guys want to surely get ahead of each other, Heischler, before they go into the pits.
I wouldn't be bothered too much. It's all about the last lap, but obviously for the show, for us, it would be nice if they would battle like they just did in the chicane. It reminded me a little bit of Perez and Lawson in the actual Mexican Grand Prix, so you love to see it.
Indeed, indeed you do. Now DRS will be available as it is switched on. Will they be able to go for that move? I think they want it. They do get a big toe, and it will only be, I was going to say more beneficial later on, but maybe they're saving, as it is going to be Brothers Cool who catches up. I'm wondering if Winter went defensive to try and slow down the pack and bring their teammate into the battle. Unless it was genuinely just a battle, Tom Robb is going to be catching up to this battle as well, and hopefully get involved if they can. They've got to be careful. They are a higher tier driver, so they do score different points, but they still can race if it is safe to do so. Winter holds on for now, as NoobTube doesn't feel the need to go for the move at this stage, but Breaders Call is right there, so if they decide to not go for an overtake, then they could get overtaken by a racing bull. We could see a moment where NoobTube's best opportunity to defend is to go on the offensive very, very shortly. That's a big crash. That is Rare Winter off in the background, unfortunately. What a shame right there for the Racing Bull. They don't have damage somehow. I don't know how they've got away with that one, but they have. Now, the P2 to 4 battle is Tom Robb instead of Rare Winter.
Yeah, it's I think the same as Tyce had yesterday. He was struggling with his rears as well, just using them too much and overheating them. As soon as you use them too much, they don't cool down around this track. They just stay on that hot 107-degree tire. So yeah, you will lose wear, you will lose grip, and it just will go down lap by lap.
Indeed, indeed it will. Terrence unfortunately leaves the session. Hopefully they can get back in. The car hasn't retired, which is a good thing, so they will have another opportunity. Winter trying to be as close as they can, 4 seconds back at the moment. They might have another opportunity later on in this race to catch up, but this is the next train that we have currently on our radar. NoobTube leads the way, Brothers Call sat right behind, and Tom Robb catches up. This could switch up within the next lap or so, but NoobTube got about half a battery left to try and defend if they want to, or push before the main DRS straight kicks in. So far what we've seen is if they're about... Oh, that's a big crash. That's going to be a safety car as Rare Winter crashes at a very similar point there to where we saw the Mercedes go out of this Grand Prix. All of a sudden, everything could change. So Maxon is going to have to make a decision. They don't go into the pit lane, but we will get a pit stop opportunity here for everyone on that medium tyre. That's very unfortunate timing there, Heischler, for Maxon.
That's the worst timing you could ever ask for. I'm not sure if he actually had the time to react to it. If he did, he should have pitted. Now he's just really vulnerable for everyone who started on the mediums. What was looking like a really lonely and easy win is now actually turning into a really difficult one to win. He is now on the worst strategy, so I hope he can get back up, but this is not looking good.
Yeah, it's going to be a very, very tough one. Terrence, despite being disconnected, their teammate, or their AI I should say, does go into the pit lane, and they will get a fresh set of hard tyres to go to the end of this Grand Prix. I think everyone's going to be doing the same thing. Barry, who is on that hard tyre, they might have to stay out. I mean, could they go to the end on a medium? No, not really. They are going to stay out as expected. So yeah, both the Red Bull cars right now are in a very, very bad position. It's not gonna look too good at the moment, but they have the pace. They do have the pace, and ultimately for Verf and Barry, they are now back in the race, which is more important than anything.
Yeah, Verve didn't pit either, I'm seeing, or did he?
They pitted recently, 2-lap-old hard tyres at the moment. So they've
Oh, then,
pitted in a very unfortunate time as they've now lost the position to Barry,
yeah.
but they still have some pretty fresh tyres on.
Yeah, I wouldn't say for Barry this is bad because he started on the mediums, I believe. So he might be able to save his horse and go to the end because I believe the horse on where they make it, but on pace it's gonna be tough. As you know, Mexico is just not really high wear, but just as soon as you hit somewhere, it's getting really tough around this track. You will lose a lot of rear grip. So he can maybe make it, but it's not ideal.
Yeah, they're going to have a very long old race here in Mexico. It is a long one, you've got a lot of laps to do, and there's a lot of low traction, which is frustrating, and when you're in that situation, it gets really, really annoying to drive. We've got an annoying moment here for Bread is Cool, who disconnects, unfortunately, mid-race. Hopefully they can get back in. We are going to quickly make sure that they do get back in. We can still hear everything, of course, but currently I will update you. Samax on YouTube are the top two, with Samax on having that older tyre. Hopefully we can get the invite through on Breeders' Call as soon as possible. I do apologise for the delay here. We've done that and we should be good to go again. So there we go, and here comes back the stream. Hopefully Breeders' Call can get back in. We'll see. Currently P3, it would be a shame to see them down the order for that one. Sometimes it's the way it goes. They do join, and they should be good to go. I don't think we'll be going for the restart just yet.
Oh, it's Terrence spinning around and going into the wall. He had damage. He has lost his front wing, so he has to box again.
That is very frustrating.
That's really, really the bad look to spin around in under the safety car. So he has to reset his mind and go into pits and just forget that happened.
Yep. You're going to have to forget very, very quickly because you've immediately got to get back out on track. So Maxon did that earlier this season in the F1 tier. They're now leading that race. It's not all too bad. You can still make a bit of progress later on in the season or later on in the race, but they're going to have to go onto an old set of mediums. Old set of mediums? That's an interesting one. I thought they would have had some fresh mediums, but maybe they don't, and they're just going to have to try and take this one as far as they possibly can, unless they're going to hope that they can get another pit stop in, but they're not going to be able to get another pit stop in. They're actually lucky that they got this pit stop in despite that damage. They do at least get a new front wing, but yeah, that's a very difficult situation for them to be in. Now, I do want to ask Heisler, is it a good thing that the safety car goes on for longer for Sir Maxon and Barry, or do they want to try and get racing as soon as possible?
For Barry, it is a good thing. For Simaxon, I wouldn't say it's a good thing. I thought maybe he's able to pull out of the DRS again, since he had a lot more pace than the rest of the field. But now, the longer it takes, the harder it will be to create somewhat of a gap before he pits. I would assume he pits around lap 20, 21, maybe 19, maybe 22, but nah, this is not helping him.
It's not at all, but we're going to be going green flagged once again. The safety car is on its way in. So Maxon leads the way. NewTube on debut is going to be the one to react. Let's see who can get the job done. The safety car is heading towards the final corner now. We've still got a little way to go. They're jumping a little bit ahead just to try and make everyone spread out. And actually, Malik hasn't quite got the gearing right. They've hit the limiter. So Maxon's already gone, and half the grid are going to be out of DRS before it's even been enabled. That is absolutely devastating right there. But NewTube is using the energy. They've got the straight line speed, and they're going to look for P1 into the first corner on the fresh tyre. Can they get the job done on the inside line? No, Simaxon breaks as late as they dares, and they've got it. They've got it. That's absolutely incredible. The Racing Bull is back in the lobby and looking to fight. It's side by side almost once again. It will be side by side as NewTube looks to the inside line, and they're going to brake as late as they can, this time on the inside line, and it's not going to work, surely. It is going to work momentarily. There's a bit of contact, but I think they've just stayed within track limits. They come out of turn 6, and the Aston's ahead. Absolutely epic stuff, making use of the traction, and Sir Maxon is just going to have to slot in behind right now.
What a move by NoobTube on his debut. He's making a show of it now, and he is really in a prime position to win this race. Let's see what Brad School now can do behind them with the most ERS, I believe. So maybe he can even already overtake him onto the straight.
Maybe. It could be very, very possible indeed. We've seen Terence go back into the pit lane for a fresh set of hard tyres. They're looking to try and make it to the end and see if they can get a severe undercut on anyone, if an undercut's possible, of course, on this tyre, as lots of people are on a similar tyre right now. Simaxon not looking to challenge into the first corner this time. They're just going to back off. A little peek there from the Racing Bull, but nothing really too much of it in the end. They do have the grip advantage of Simaxon, who didn't get a good exit, and here comes the Racing Bull. Tom Rob's also trying to have a go, but they back off as they realise it's not going to be such a straightforward position. Simaxon defends to the inside line to try and stay ahead, and they will stay ahead for now. Good effort there for Simaxon. I don't think they're going to be challenged. Tom Rob's going to have to back out. That would have been pretty bad if they made contact there from that far back. But they're good to go, and as these guys fight, Barry and Verf are all back in this fight possibly. They just need that extra tenth to get that DRS, and they will be good to go. But right now, Brothers Call is breaking away. NoobTube is breaking away.
Yeah, NoobTube is indeed breaking away from Brad School, and it's kind of Uno reverse from who we have now in the lead. Now NoobTube. Now I'm losing it myself. NoobTube is in the same position as Simaxon was before the safety car. So let's see if he can do the same, just extend, whilst Brad School and Simaxon are weaving all over the place now.
You've got to be careful that they don't do it too much. Of course, when the cars ahead get close, when they get closer, then it can get very dangerous. Tom Rob's looking to the inside, but it's going to be Simaxon who goes through. The Haas can't find a way through. DRS will not be available, however, for that Racing Bull. Tom goes off the circuit on the exit. Will they have another opportunity into turn 5? No, they will not. Turn 4, I should say. I always get it wrong. They are still going to try and send it, which is an interesting call, but it's not going to be quite so possible. The traction should be there, but no, Tom has managed to find it. They're going to push their way through. There's a bit of contact, but they've got the job done. It's an interesting one from a higher tier driver, but it is what it is. It's a wrestling move, at least, I guess you could say, and nothing you can do about it. It was fairly tidy indeed. They've got DRS to hold on to the back of the Red Bull at least, but we've got Verf and the Racing Bull now side by side. It's not going to be possible this time. Brothers School holds on, and DRS will be used on the main straight. And will we see an overtake happen there, as Brothers School doesn't have the DRS? So this is a big problem here.
Yeah, thank you, safety car, for coming out. This race has come alive since then, and now Tom will probably overtake Simaxon as well, whilst Brad School will re-overtake. Oh no, it's just first overtaking Brad School. So we have moves all over the place now. But Tom stays behind for now, I think, saving ERS.
Interesting. They've used, I guess, a bit trying to get past the Racing Bull, so now they're trying to relax a little bit. But I'm going to be honest, I think maybe Tom was... Simaxon was maybe hoping Tom would go for the move, maybe use their pace to give them DRS so they can drag them along a little bit, but we'll see if that changes in a few moments' time. In the meantime, Verf has been able to catch up because Tom didn't make that move and drag the train along. Instead, they are now stuck behind the older tyre of Simaxon. So, Brothers Call is brought back into this. Barry, not so much. I don't know what's happened to the teammate of the championship contender, but they are not too far away. Maybe they'll have an opportunity to catch back up and get back in this race, but right now, not quite so much. Verf is looking very racy, but Tom Rob, he's going to have a few questions to answer. Is he going to go for that move into the first corner or not?
You're a higher tier driver, so as long as you would do it on the straight, I would say you're free to overtake. I assume Simaxon will even be happy with it, and he can just stick with him and hope he can somewhat save it time for the pit stop he has to make later on.
Yep, for sure. Now, Tom Rob is going to be leading 1.6 seconds as they get a slingshot. 1.8 on the exit. It will extend a little bit, but then they'll get DRS again, will Tom Rob. So Maxon's just going to try and hold on as Verf has made that move ahead of the Racing Bull, and they will not be able to get in front of the Red Bull. Just about holds on, does some Maxon, but they get a time penalty. The grip is minimal. They're pushing to the limit and they're in the dirty air, possibly frustrated as well with the situation. And that is a time penalty for one of the only drivers that didn't get a time penalty in yesterday's race. That is absolutely devastating to already an incredibly difficult Grand Prix that they showed so good pace with. Is it going to be possible for even Verf to be able to be back in this battle? We haven't seen them since the first lap as they qualified very high up. They might be able to get a good result here. Maybe, dare I say, P1 with Sir Maxon having these issues.
Yeah, it's kind of tough to see for Simaxon. He did so well yesterday winning that race, but now he's really on the back foot and it's just getting from bad to worse. Yeah, it's unlucky for him, and I hope he can somewhat damage limitate this race.
Yeah, for sure. That being said, they were down in last place at the kind of late midpoint of the Grand Prix, and they ended up winning it as they just stayed in. So you never give up. You always try and score the points. That's how they are in this championship battle. They haven't given up throughout the season, and they have just tried to stay in and score as many points as they can. If they had a issue early on in the season, they didn't retire the car, so they are in a best position possible. They've just got to try and make use of the situation. Ultimately, whatever points they score is good points because their championship rivals are not going to be scoring points today, whether they are not going to be racing or they didn't make it past the first corner. That's, yeah, a very tough one to take, of course, for Jerko Willis. Frantic's going to be happy because there's less cars gaining as much points as they would have probably gained if they'd made it into the first corner, but yeah, we'll see. It's all a shoulda, woulda, coulda situation right now, and it is what it is. Lap 20 out of 36. We're not going to see an overtake here from Verf. They stay behind Tom Rob. They don't make it work, but Tom Rob is closing up here to NoobTube. NoobTube's lead is currently under threat, and Verf could be possibly taking this victory for the EU drivers.
Yeah, I was looking with Tom whilst first is now going for the inside line. They just about didn't make contact, but he's still there, still hanging on, but no, it's still Tom Rob defending that place really well. But I was watching Tom through the third sector and he made a big mistake into that hairpin. Otherwise he would already have been in the DRS of NoobTube, so NoobTube is very much under pressure from both First and Tom now.
It was a close call, it looked like, between them. There was a little bit of a wheel bang here and there. They've managed to sort it out just about. Verf is once again in DRS. Tom Rob not in DRS, as you said, Heischler, to NoobTube. They were almost there. Now, the Ferrari, I think, is probably going to have a pretty good go, and they might start to push, but they've actually just lost the car on the final corner. And with the DRS and the ERS, I still don't think they'll be able to bring a gap down that big.
Yeah, Tom had an amazing exit on the last corner as well. He made up like about nearly 4 tenths on that corner alone to NoobTube. So he's now saying it, he's within DRS, but he will only get DRS after the second sector. So let's hope he stays in it now.
As these guys fight, Sir Maxon has been able to be kind of bought a bit more time in this race, as they haven't pitted still at the moment, and they're looking to go as long as they possibly can. DRS will help them lose less time than they would have if they just stayed out on this tyre, as they've been forced to do so. But yeah, still being able to hold on to DRS just about is very impressive. They might have just lost it around about now, but right now the top three are all in DRS for the first time in a long time. Sir Maxon has done it. Will they be able to catch that back up into the stadium section, or is it time to go into the pit lane?
I would say go in the pit lane now, because now when you lose the DRS, now you will lose the most time. So now you have to pit. Now you need to use your tires, and I think he's listening to me and goes right into the pits for new mediums.
Yeah, I think the plan is when you lose DRS, it's time to go into the pit lane. You don't gain anything from the DRS anymore, so you've just got to make it work. We're going to go with the top 3 as Tom Robb isn't going to go for the move once again. They just stay behind, as we saw from earlier on, but this time it's on the Aston Martin. DRS will be available as they're going to go into turn 4. Verf, I don't think is going to have as much patience as Tom will. They go to the inside line just to have a look, but they will stay behind as well. So there's an interesting situation, a little bit of a sense of intensity at the moment between the drivers. They just don't know what each other are doing. The communication is very hard to read. It's not bad, it's just hard to read between the top 3, and they've got to make sure that they just keep it clean. There's a long way to go in this race still, and that is where you're going to decide the result, not on lap 22. Simaxon 16 seconds behind Breda's Core, is 5 seconds away from the top 3, so that is, I say that, 16 and 6 seconds more or less, really. So yeah, it's not an easy situation there for Simaxon. They've got a lot of time to gain.
Yeah, Tom was just saving ERS, and I would say you kind of see that when you're the car behind, which is Firth now. So I'm not surprised that Firth didn't go for it on the second straight, but Tom now goes for the overtake and will take the lead of this race. No, it's side by side still through the second corner and the third, but they keep it clean. Oh, and a big slide from Tom, and now it's 3 wide.
Big slide from Tom, it's 3 wide, and it's going to be Verf taking the lead momentarily, and I think they're going to keep it. Aston Martin to the inside line. They might be able to muscle their way through, but Tom is going to push them off into the barrier. I do not believe it. I do not believe it. Verf goes from the back of the grid to P1, and in the meantime, the debut for NoobTube was looking so good, but now they've got damage. I do not believe what I've just seen. Brett is cool, is going to be able to take advantage, and Simaxon has had a brilliant door opened for more points. A safety car is not deployed, just to clarify that. That is a graphic bug. Would they be able to stay out? I don't think so with that much damage. That was a very frustrating one there. I think just Tom trying to send it over the curb. They were then kind of forced to the outside line. It was never going to work if you're forced that hard to the outside line, and then Demon Dragging just ended it there. So that's yeah, a disappointing crash that ends that battle now.
Yeah, it's just always unlucky when you start the team in the wreck. You just Tom, you can't really turn away. You keep on going to that side even though you're turning to the right. But it's definitely, yeah, kind of both could have avoided it if you just try to not hit other people's rear. I had it with Nifo in Brazil, but it's hard. It's just hard to sometimes avoid it.
Yeah, it's going to be frustrating. I mean, NoobTube still stays out. They're not willing to go into the pit lane just yet. I don't know if they're maybe hoping that they can go for a set of soft tyres and go for a fastest lap, or maybe even hoping that Simaxon won't be able to catch up enough by the time it gets to the end of the race. I mean, looking at a fresh front wing and tyres compared to older hard tyres and damage, I think Simaxon is going to be able to catch up quite nicely. They're not doing bad, to be honest. They're giving it a very good shot to be in the position they are currently. So yeah, pretty good effort right now. I think what we've got to look at this point is when and if Bread is Cool catches up to NoobTube.
Oh! It stares into the wall. It stares into the wall, and it's another safety car. I was just switching to them. He was fighting with Malik, and he went just straight into the wall, lost his car.
Was there contact, or was it just a loss of traction in the S section?
Loss of traction, loss of traction.
Incredibly frustrating there. Once again, more issues for Terrence, and this time it has brought a safety car out. Verf is going to be incredibly frustrated. All of a sudden, it looked like they had a great opportunity to win this race. Well, Sumexon had that as well, but now they're on the fresh medium tyres. Everyone is going to have an opportunity here to get onto the medium tyres. NoobTube can get a new front wing. This is going to be a very interesting Grand Prix. Currently, we have the top 3 not on time penalties, but everyone else, I don't know if Barry does, I can't quite remember, have time penalties.
Barry doesn't have a penalty yet either, so he is actually from being in a good position to bad, to good, to bad, to now good again. And Malik DNF'd? I'm not sure what happened
Crashing
there.
into the back of the safety car.
Oh no. Oh, did he? Oh, that's not ideal. That's unlucky for him. So we have only 6 drivers left in this chaotic and interesting Mexican Grand Prix so far.
Yep, that's a tough one. I think everything that could happen has happened. We've had a big DNF before we even reached the first corner, and we've had a crash into the back of the safety car. We've had the race leader be messed up with the strategy, now brought back into it again. Interestingly, Verf has stayed out.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one. I'm not entirely sure what their plan is there.
I'm not sure either. I don't think that is a good call from Verf. I don't understand this call.
I think they were maybe concerned that if they didn't go into the pit lane, or if they did go into the pit lane, the others wouldn't go into the pit lane. I mean, still, regardless of that, I think it would be beneficial to go into the pits.
Yeah.
They're going to get an opportunity to go in again. I don't know if Tom will be able to catch up. They should be able to catch up by the time they get to the stadium section. But ultimately, Verf is going to be behind, I would probably say, Samaxon by the time we get to the stadium section. Of course, as everyone will bunch up in the stadium section. I assume by the time they've come out the pit lane, they are going to be behind Samaxon, if not definitely behind the Aston Martin.
Another interesting one, Brad School is still on 10 lap old mediums as well, so I don't think they can make it to the end either, so they have to pit again. So it's
the only
a
choice.
lot of interesting strategies or calls going on now, and I'm not sure if all the calls are good.
It's a tough one. They still don't go into the pit lane, does Verf? They've just taken it on the chin. That is an interesting one for Verf. They're going to hope that it's enough. I think they're maybe hoping that time penalties will come into play. They probably know that the higher tier driver of Tom Rob wouldn't be a disadvantage. So currently their only competitors, if they're able to stay within a time penalty range, are NoobTube and Barry. So that's something to look at for sure. Still, regardless, I think pitting would be much more beneficial. And they would only have to race NoobTube and Barry if they were not to get a time penalty themselves. Obviously, there's always a risk of not fighting a time penalty runner if they try and get their time penalties removed. As Barry has, I believe, gone back into the pit lane.
No, he's not. He is still driving around. Okay. But yeah, I'm thinking about how this race will go and looking at the tire situation and penalty situation. If it goes well for Verf, it actually can still work out, but he takes a huge risk with not pitting. If he just pitted, he would be assured of most likely a win, to be honest.
Yeah, and coming from the position that they did earlier on, that would have been a bit of a fairy tale, almost as if what happened yesterday to Samaxon, of course. I mean, Samaxon, even in this race, has had a hell of an up and down. Will we get the restart here for the Mexican Grand Prix? We should get the confirmation as Barry does catch up. Yep. There it is, as expected. As it's very frustrating when you do get the late call, but it just happens and you've got to be ready for it. Therefore, lead the safety car restart. Tom is the one to react. The safety car is into the pit lane. When will we be going racing once again? Will they go early? Will they go late? they're still waiting. Now they've gone for it. Green flag again. Tom Robb reacts nicely. It's all a little bit difficult further behind. And there's a ghost car all of a sudden. Sir Maxon makes the move on Breda's Call. Have they done that too early? I don't think so. They're still going to push. They're pushing on the energy. They're going to try and attack here on the Aston Martin. And they will do so. The Aston Martin was just a sitting duck. And Sir Maxon is in P3 immediately. They've got a 3-second time penalty on the restart to make matters even worse. I do not believe what I've seen. Everybody is now going to be bunched up behind the old hard tyre of Verf. I don't know what to say. Everything can happen here.
Yeah, it's even worse now for Simakson. I don't see him scoring a lot of points now compared to his championship rivals. This was the prime moment to gain a lot of points on them. So I just hope he gets as high up as possible for him, for his sake in the championship.
That's absolutely devastating right there. Verf is going defensive as Tom Robb is trying to go to the outside line, and they know that they have the grip. That was very ballsy. They've got the job done. Sir Maxon's trying to come through. There was a bit of a correct, and it is going to be Sir Maxon just about ahead, and they are using everything they can with those tyres and trying to utilise the fact that they have got old hard tyre runner in front of them now behind them to maybe see if they can break away from Noob, maybe even break that 6-second gap. They managed to get 8 seconds in the early stages of this Grand Prix, remember, so their pace is pretty good. Noob has to get ahead. They have to get ahead of Verf sooner rather than later. I think they have to use the energy here. They have to go full send, otherwise it's not going to be possible. No energy is left for Verf. Here we go. Sir Maxon goes to the lead in the Grand Prix. The other battles in the background. Tom Robb holds on. Sir Maxon will not get the switchback. Verf has made contact, and Noob will go through. Barry Kruger has a look to the outside line. The space is left. Actually incredible right there to see spaces left, but Barry is not able to make work of it. Verf gets a time penalty. That's not going to help their situation, and now Noob is in a brilliant position to win this Grand Prix, but with Sir Maxon's pace and having a 1.6 second gap, they're in a good position to possibly even break away here, unless there's a bit of a hard fight here with Tom Robb and Sir Maxon.
Yeah, it was so nice to see that all the 6 cars were going too wide into the turn 4 it is. It was just battles all over the place and different outcomes, and now Barry is gonna go on the attack on Verf. Verf is just dropping down like a stone in this race now.
Absolutely expected though, because those tyres are incredibly dead. With that 3-second, of course, as well, they're pushing the limits, as we saw Sir Maxon pushing the limits earlier on. Now they lead the Grand Prix, and they're going to look to try and take this. If they can break away from Tom Robb, then I don't see a world where Sir Maxon can't win this. I mean, it's going to be possible. They have so much pace. They got the 8-second gap earlier on, and they have, instead of a hard tyre, they have a medium tyre. If they can utilise themselves on it, which they had good pace with yesterday, then I think they're going to be in a brilliant position to possibly take this victory. Almost 2 seconds here to Noob and Tom Robb. Tom has managed to hold on to DRS range on Sir Maxon, so as long as Tom doesn't fight with Sir Maxon, they could be in a good position. Verf gets ahead of Breda's Call, despite having these old tyres, as they're just trying their best to lose minimal time, slingshotting here with the racing ball.
And I want to just spice up things even more. If you think about it, we knew from the radar that it would maybe even rain at the end of this race, so it's even can go all the way to a different winner. Maybe Noob can win, maybe Barry can win. We just don't know if the weather's gonna change.
Absolutely right. You can see the clouds are coming in. Will we get to the late stages where the rain could pick up? Well, I'm gonna say because we've had a couple safety cars, the race is going to take a little bit longer than usual, and that is usually going to be the opportunity for everything to change. It's going to be contact as Breda's Call cuts the corner to try and go side by side. There is the rain. Verf will not be able to get through. That's what Verf was looking for. That's what they were looking for. They were preying on the rain to come in, and now there's going to be a few gambles. Who will be able to get ahead? They're trying to race through the S section. Will Sir Maxon and Tom Robb Rob go into the pit lane this early on, or are they going to stay out? Verf is going to get another opportunity to try and get ahead here. Is it going to be possible? They have to stay behind this time around. But Simaxon, are they going to the pit lane? They are not.
Yeah, it's really tough to tell sometimes in this game when you have to pit, but you kind of have to feel it. If you're losing a lot of grip, a lot of time on these tires, that's the moment you kind of have to pit. But now you have to consider as well, it's only 5 laps left on this race. So is it even worth it pitting now, or are you just gonna live with it and hope it's not gonna rain too much?
You never know. Approximate weather also makes it very, very difficult, and you don't know how hard it is going to rain. If it's going to rain lightly for long, then you may as well not pit. But if it's going to rain pretty hard almost immediately, then yes, you definitely need to pit. Having an intermediate tyre, having a wet tyre compared to a slick in wet conditions is so beneficial. And despite having the time penalty, despite being in a very disadvantaged situation right now, I think we could see Verf maybe get the victory here if everything goes right. They have a 3-second, Bredders Corn 6, 3-second for Barry, and a 9-second for Simaxon. I didn't realise that they got an extra time penalty on top of the 6 they have. So currently, it looks like, well, NoobTube is still in the lead of this Grand Prix for the EU drivers. That is a very, very tough pill to swallow. Maybe Simaxon can still break it away from NoobTube, but Verf is going to have a bit of a comeback drive here, possibly. Lap 33 out of 36, and that rain is coming down hard, but the track isn't really that wet.
No, I'm telling you, Verf is still in this. I'm looking at how quickly he's gonna catch up. Barry is seeing it as well, I think, and is now going into the box. And I don't think either US is even enabled anymore, because I didn't see his rear wing go open.
No, it's not. There it is. That was an interesting one. We got that call pretty late there from Race Control. I don't know if the drivers didn't get that either. I'd assume that maybe they didn't if they haven't pitted on the end of that lap. Bredders Call once again leaves, and we're going to take this opportunity to quickly invite them for the final time. If it doesn't work, then we will not be able to invite them again. So I do apologise, but while we have an opportunity here, whilst the pit stops are coming in, then we will have one more go at getting them in to finish this race, but that will be the last time we will invite them. And we are now once again back into racing. Simaxon, Tom Rob, NoobTube, they have to pit surely.
Oh, it's hard to see, to be honest. They are just tiptoeing around, losing the rear everywhere. It's still a gamble. Are you staying out, or are you gonna pit? And Simaxon is actually gonna pit. He's gonna gamble it.
Tom Rob is going to stay out. That's the wrong call. He wanted to go into the pit lane there, unless he was just losing the car so much. You can see it's all over the place. That was the wrong call for sure. Surely it was. I don't know. NoobTube goes into the pit lane. If I was NoobTube, I'd be staying out. That being said, maybe it actually looks like not a bad opportunity of 9-second time penalty to the car ahead. They might have an opportunity here. Barry, will they get the undercut and be able to get a massive benefit from the other cars that have just pitted? They might be able to get to NoobTube here, and I think they've got to try and help their teammate here for the championship right now. They have to do it. They're going to have to defend from NoobTube, otherwise it's not going to be so possible. Verf actually didn't get the best outlap, so a little bit too early, but they gave it the best shot considering their situation. I don't think they could have done much differently right there. Tom Rob stays out. 15 seconds is the gap that they have. Surely that's not going to last.
It's so hard to tell. You still have to go 2.5 laps. If Simaxon gains 5 laps or 5 seconds, less than 5 seconds even per lap, he will catch up. And it looks like Tom made the wrong call. Tom definitely made the wrong call here.
Yeah, sliding all over the place. It's incredibly difficult. Unfortunately, that's going to be Bredders Call done. They will still score points. Tom goes off the track on these slick tyres. They just about keep it out of the wall, but Simaxon will be coming through, and they will get a massive advantage. You can see Barry is going crazy defensive. Maybe a little bit too much there. I don't think that's really fair of Barry to do what they've just done. So that's unfortunate, because that is a race battle for for the lead on time penalties probably over. So Maxon will take the lead overall as Tom Robb makes that pit stop now. Barry Kruger is holding on at the moment, but is in a controversial style for sure, as they now go to the inside line, and Noob doesn't have the energy to be able to get ahead this time.
Yeah, it's maybe controversial, but it does help Simonson somehow still get this win, and maybe we will take the lead of the championship for the first time this season, whilst NoobTube is really going to the rear of Barry and now goes side by side to turn 4.
It's going to be very interesting on the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. Barry's doing everything they can to help their teammate, and I mean, it's probably somewhat decided here. Simatson isn't exactly pushing too hard, but it's going to be 10 seconds very soon, and that might just be enough. But Barry is still doing everything they can to help out in the championship. They'll still be leading the team's championship. They're just going to try and make sure that it's certain that they lead the drivers. He's not giving him an inch. Barry going not slowly through the S section, but really going defensive to try and hold off that Aston. The Aston pushing the energy, going to the outside line. Once again, there's going to be contact, and this is very, very difficult here for Barry, and that is going to be contact. So, yeah, that's not what we want to see, unfortunately. That was a track limit. I think that's now 6 seconds to NoobTube, but I think they'll get that removed, so they're not going to have to worry. But all of a sudden, NoobTube gets ahead with that time penalty, of course, that they've just got. Barry's going to go back through immediately, and Verf is going to be in this battle.
Oh, it's really messy, this battle. You like to see battles, but this one is kind of ugly at the moment. Yeah, you want to see battles, but yeah, I have to say Barry needs to be a little bit calmer with this one.
Yeah, it's you can defend, but it's not really fair yet. That's a bit of a shame. Verf can't get through. I mean, they'll still be able to be ahead as long as NoobTube doesn't get any more time penalties. They will be good to go. Barry slow on the exit, but Verf can't quite find a way through in the end, so they will just have to back off. But yeah, as I said, NoobTube, they will be able to get these time penalties removed as long as they don't get any more warnings, and they will be able to get that P2 at least. After all of that, we're going to switch over to the race Victor in a minute, but we're just going to have one more side-by-side action, as it's going to be Verf trying to go to the outside, then they'll have another opportunity to the outside line. They're trying to get this on track position. I don't think it's going to be quite so possible. They'll have one more opportunity to send it to the inside line. They're not going to do it. And it will be as it is. Simaxon is going to win the Mexican Grand Prix in an absolutely crazy race. They've managed to come out on top. Barry crosses the line in P2. Then we have NoobTube and then Verf. Or is it Verf then NoobTube? We'll get a double check on the results there. It's a shame it ended that way. It was a hell of a race, though. Ups and downs all over.
Well, yeah, this race literally had anything. Great, unbelievable crashes, safety cars, virtual safety cars, rain, different leaders. It's just Simaxon again with such a crazy race, getting on top and staying cool all race.
Yep, we get a quick view of the race director because it's one of those circuits that you kind of need it. Simaxon takes the win with the fastest lap to boot, 2 points ahead in the championship now. Barry P2, then Verf, NoobTube, Tom Robb, Brett is cool scoring points. Then we have DNFing, Malik Mima, Terence, Ray Winter, Fireball, and Jericho Willis earlier on not starting or finishing a lap. If that has been the full race replay for you, we will see you next time around in Saudi Arabia. If not, for the live stream, we'll see you in a bit for the post-race interviews. Hello everyone, welcome to the post-race interviews of the Mexican Grand Prix. If there's a race to have everything in it, that was the one. Rain, I don't know what to say, there was so much. So Maxon, that was very up and down. It was looking pretty good at the kind of after the start phase of the Grand Prix. You had a big gap, then the safety car came in, it put you all the way down the order. What were you thinking then?
I thought that the game just didn't want me to fight for the win. And then at lap 18 got 8 warnings in one corner. I don't know what happened. It was a game bug, but I still tried to drive as much as I could, as fast as I could. The first safety car wasn't really great for me as I was on the hards and didn't really know what tire to use, so decided to just stay on the track. Yeah, and maybe wait for another safety car, or just try to stay with the top 3 and then cook on the mediums. I was thinking about staying on that hards to do the rain, but yeah, it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, it was a tough one. You obviously made the call to go to that medium, but in the end, so that 9 seconds you're saying that isn't going to be legitimate?
6 seconds out of
6 seconds.
9
okay.
was.
Okay, 6
yeah,
seconds. So
6
6 seconds won't be legitimate. So, yeah, well done. You've got the job done. Just about. It's been very up and down yesterday and today, but you've managed to somehow, from being at the back of the grid almost, getting there and winning the race. So well done. Very well done. Do you think you can carry the momentum into Saudi Arabia as the championship leader now by 2 points?
I think I can try to stay with frantic fight with him in Saudi Arabia. It depends on what pace I will have. I didn't check how am I on this track in this game. At the start of the interview, I forgot to say that it was a simply lovely win. Continuing the yeah, but I think the Saudi Arabia race will be chaotic.
It will.
Be the race games, like trying to stay ahead, maybe even the strategy with hard compound at the start.
Yeah.
I don't think it. I think it's just staying on the mediums at the start is a better way, as we've seen today and yesterday, that the safety car can come in really quickly and then ruin almost your race.
Yeah, it can. It can, but hopefully it doesn't next time, and hopefully we can have some good racing. Good luck there. It's a sprint race, so you can get some good points. Thank you very much. Congratulations, and we'll see you next time. And we move on to Terence. Terence, that was a tough race. Off in the S section, what happened?
No, the incident caused me to retard is I side by side with the McLaren. He didn't spin in front of me, but that is the set of 2 sections that with many corners.
Yeah.
So I just tried to go past him in the left of the track, but I failed. I think my rear right had collision with his front left, so I can't control my car after the collision and then go into the wall. That's why I retard DNF.
I see. Okay. So yeah, that's very frustrating, and I'm sorry to see that happen. Another unfortunate result here this season. One to forget, I guess. Saudi Arabia. whether you'll be there or not. It's a sprint race. Is that a circuit that you like? Do you think you can do well there? I think you actually had a pretty good race there last season until there was a bit of contact, do I dare say, with your teammate in the end.
Yeah. I want to forget that one. Made me remember that. Yeah, that was a good race. And I love Jella. Is high speed corners, many things. Is the track is very narrow, so we have to take it for a half Monaco. So yeah, it would be a track to enjoy. I don't know, would I have any other decision before the next Grand Prix? But yeah, the track I would enjoy.
Fair enough. Thank you very much, Terence. Really good effort today. Sorry it didn't go the way you wanted it to, and if we see you next time, good luck.
Thank you, Aaron.
And we move on to Tom. Tom, obviously, higher tier driver starting at the back, trying to get your way through the top to the top. You managed to be there, but unfortunately, I'm going to say it was very scary in the stadium section there. It looked like you're going to go straight into the barrier.
Nah, it was fine for a bit in the end, but no. First of all, yeah, it's especially really hard to start from the back through and go through the grid. Especially because I felt like I hadn't had the best of top speed compared to the others. And then I tried to move through the middle sector, kind of worked, but I was stuck between, I think, the Mercedes for a bit and then had a bit of a gap. Managed to get it close quite quickly. Yeah, Maxon in the meantime was just flying with the hard tires, and I was really happy about the safety car, so I had a chance to fight for the win. I would say I showed great pace. Afterwards, was really careful with track limits today. And then during the second safety car, I checked for Maxon's penalties, so I knew he will get 6 seconds removed likely. So my goal was just to stay without track limit warnings to the end and don't get a time penalty because we would have been equal at that point. And when the rain started, I just had a bit of more problems with the rear grip, as I don't feel as strong in the wet as I was. So yeah, I tried to do something, and then as the first guys went onto the inters, I checked the gap that they were closing in. It was just 2 to 3 seconds during the first lap, so I thought maybe I get a chance to get to the end if the rain stays like it was. But unfortunately it just kept increasing, and I just lost so much time on the one lap. I was longer out compared to the others that I was just so far. So yeah, I had a chance to win. Probably wouldn't have won during because of the rain, and then just missed my last chances. But it was a really fun race.
Yeah, it was up and down. Obviously, you're not in the championship battle necessarily, so you can just kind of enjoy it for what it was. It was a very, very crazy one. And thank you very much for the racing that we saw. Saudi Arabia, do you like that circuit? It's going to be probably not wet.
Yeah, it's a final high-speed circuit, a lot of corners, so you need a lot of downforce, but you have to manage it with the top speed you need for the straights. So it's gonna be really important for all of the drivers. And then it just most likely the winner will most likely be the one who can stay in the DRS train and be very consistent with it, and probably the only one who doesn't touch the wall through the race.
Indeed, it will. I look forward to it though. Thank you very much, Tom. Really good effort today, and we'll see you next time. And we move on to NoobTube. NoobTube, welcome to LSI. I have to say, it was an absolutely awesome effort leading for a fair few laps as well during that race, and at the end it looked like it was going to be yours. Obviously, unfortunately, what happened, and try not to be salty about it at all, but can you just explain to us your race, because it was one hell of a race?
Quali was pretty poor. I could have gotten P3, but I messed up huge in Sector 2, so I couldn't improve on that lap time. Lap 1, I watched the two guys just crash into each other, went P2 via C, and then I sort of cheesed my way into P1 on the restart. and then it kind of just went, I was around P4, P3. I got wing damage, I was pissed. I was going to report it, but then the Haas guy sort of died, so it went pretty well.
Yeah.
And then, so I'm not going to report that anymore because this is so convoluted. What am I looking at? And then the Red Bull defending me at the end just did double move after double move and then crashed into me. I got 6 seconds. I'm going to get that removed, yada, yada, yada. I think the Ferrari, that 3 seconds will stick for him, so I think P2 is pretty good.
Yeah. P2 will be pretty good. Obviously, it will always be a thought of what could have been, but if you move to the next race, if you can make it to Saudi Arabia with a sprint race, 2 opportunities to get a victory there, do you think you can compete again and get to the top spot?
It depends on the track. I am on a controller, so there's only so much I can do on certain tracks.
Yeah. Saudi Arabia is a hard one for controller. I know a driver who does struggle. That may be Zingy, who is the champion, who struggles at Saudi Arabia. Can still do very good though. So don't take it for don't take it too bad. I'm all over the place with the speech. You'll be absolutely fine. I can't wait. Thank you very much, NoobTube. Really good effort today, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Just had to end that one there because I was all over the place. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you next weekend for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. It's a sprint event. It's the final race of the 3rd segment of the championship before we go into the final 3 races. We look forward to it. We'll see you there. Bye-bye.